Welcome back to Inside Boxing's Throwdown. My name is Steve Johnson, Radio Martinez. This episode, we're going to talk about this upcoming weekend's fights. We really only have really a one fight of interest. And I know, I'm sure there's other fights, but the only fight of interest we have is Diego Magdaleno is taking on Terry Flanagan over in Manchester, United Kingdom. That's a welterweight bout. Radio, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Magdaleno's 28-1, and I think he's got 12 KOs, and then we have Flanagan is 28-0, and he has 11 KOs.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you take it from there because I have my own opinion about this fight, but let's start off with you.
Well, you know, what makes this interesting, and unfortunately it's not going to be televised, so we won't be able to watch it, but we'll give you a report on this thing, is Magdaleno, of course, will be traveling to the UK. The fight's going to be held in Manchester. And it's interesting when you go out there, you know, it's very tough to win. It's tough to win outside your state, much less out of the country. But it's for a title, okay? Yeah, I mean, it's for, I believe, the WBO lightweight title.
I believe so.
And...
no, it's IBO, isn't it?
No, I think it's
WBO?
WBO lightweight title.
Okay.
So this is kind of the bait that they threw out to Magdaleno.
A world title, huh?
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So obviously he says he's gonna take that route.
Right.
Now there's not much fighters that do that, but it's interesting because at first I would have said, my first thing in my mind is saying, no, you just let that go by. And the opportunity is going to come sooner or later anyhow in your hometown, or at least in your home country. But anyhow, he elected to go take that fight, and that's this weekend. And he's fighting this kid Terry Flanagan. Okay, so it's going to be an interesting fight. Obviously, it's going to be a tough one for Magdaleno. Not so much. It may not be tough as far as competition, but it's going to be tough because he's out of the country, and it's not going to be easy for him to win. He's taken the route of, like Stevie Johnston. You remember Stevie Little but Bad Johnson?
Right.
You know, he went out to France as an opponent.
Right.
And Stevie was just one of them fighters where he'd take anyone. He was like Muhammad Ali. Let me go anywhere. I'm going to show him that I'm the best. Yep. You know. And he ended up beating back then Jean Baptiste Mendy.
Yes.
You know, and the rest is history. Stevie was a very, very well-respected champion. So hopefully the things can work out the same with Magdaleno, and wish him well, wish him luck. It takes a lot to do that. Most people not only will not go out of the country, they will not go out of the state, plus they will not fight anyone with the winning record. We know how that works, okay?
Yeah.
So,
and having said that, I agree with you 100%. I would have to say that, you know, I'm sure Diego knows that he's behind it in this fight, but he obviously feels that he's up to the task, and I think that he is up to the task because, like you said, you mentioned, you know, just because we're familiar with the two, Denver's Stevie Little Bit Bad Johnston and then Lightning Lonnie Smith. They both made their name by going in as chosen as an opponent, and they went in and knocked off a world champion to go ahead and get the title. So I think Diego, you know, he's only lost one fight. You know, and for this, you know, for Flanagan being undefeated, it's not going to be an easy fight. There's no doubt about it. Like you said, first of all,
not at all.
Everyone knows how, just if nothing else, the noise factor over there in the UK. They get to beating them damn tom-toms and hollering throughout, even when it's in between the rounds. They're making all this noise. But if Diego's focused like I think he will, he'll come back and he'll have a world title. And a world welterweight title, which puts him in the mix, and that gives him more leverage. Because right now, though, to be honest, nobody wants to fight Magdaleno. That's the problem he has, is nobody wants to fight.
And he's a talented young kid.
Yes, he is.
He's a talented, he's
both a highly decorated amateur.
Both him and his brother.
That's
I'm telling you, they so like I say again, I wish him well.
Yes.
You know, he's got that little odds against him because he's going out of the country, but it's not something that cannot be overcome. He just has to go up there and do what he does best, and that show his talent.
And that shows on the Premier Boxing. No, that's right. That's undefeated. I mean, that's untelevised. So
yeah, that's in
I hate
Manchester.
to say this, but most of our guys know how to get on a stream. You can get a stream and you can get to see this fight.
Hopefully,
I'm gonna see it.
hopefully we can find a stream
We'll
to watch that
We'll
fight.
find
But
one.
that's Saturday, okay?
Yes.
The other fight coming up Saturday, of course, is NBC Premier Boxing.
Correct.
They do have one that's televised on NBC.
Yes.
And that's going to be between Danny O'Connor and Gabriel Bracero.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Steve, if you remember, Gabriel has a win over Danny O'Connor.
Yes. So it's a grudge match.
It's been a while.
Right.
I think it was
4 years almost, right?
Yeah, 2011
Yeah.
when they first met, and of course now they're going to meet again, and it's going to be an interesting fight to see. You know, of course, Danny wants to even the score on this, and take it from there. So I mean, it's what we have on NBC, so it may turn out to be a pretty decent fight.
I think it's going to be a decent fight because Danny O'Connor's 26-2 with 10 KOs. He's 30 years old.
Okay.
Gabriel Bracero is 23-2 with 4 KOs. He's 34 years old. So these guys are both on the opposite end of their fight careers. But bottom line is that they decided that this is the time, for O'Connor to square this thing away. And I have to say, I think this is going to be pretty much easy work for O'Connor. Usually when you have a guy 4 years old, probably back when they fought in 2011, the experience and the age factor were in the favor of Bracero, whereas now the experience and the age mean nothing as opposed to
turn around. I'm sure Danny's gained some experience in the past 4 years. So,
yeah, I'm sure he has.
I'm tending to side with you. But Steve, it's not easy to overcome a loss because once you lose to a person, odds are against you, and the stats favor the winning fighter to come back and win again. It's just that's the way it is. But because we have 4 years that are in between, it can change. Danny can maybe forget that he lost because you tend to remember a loss and it affects you in a fight.
But he didn't get knocked out. So it was probably one of those things that it was a step up in competition, and he's learned his lesson. But real quick, let me back up one thing. We don't like to backtrack, but we have to backtrack on this just a little bit. Is this Diego Magdaleno and Terry Flanagan? One of the things that's intriguing about that fight to me is because Aurelio, they're both southpaws, and it's pretty much, I don't know about you, but the last month or so, I've seen a lot of these fight cards that we've seen where they have not one, but 2 or 3 fights involving, southpaws, and that's usually tough fight.
But they fight each other.
To see two southpaws match against each other. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting, too. That's another reason to find this fight on the stream, okay? Because I think it's going to be a good fight.
I think you're right. I think you're right. So, I mean, them are the 2 things we have coming up this weekend. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that'll be enough to keep boxing fans' appetite wet.
To whet their appetites.
I think it'll be enough. I mean, boxing, when you get good boxing, the Bracero O'Connor, okay, it may not be a 5-star fight, but it is a fight. They're going to go at it. It's going to be action packed because number one wants the advantage. Bracero sees this as an opportunity to finish his career. Mm-hmm. He's up in age, so I think they're both well worth watching.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So with that, we're going to leave you with this episode, and we're going to come back with our amateur episode. But we do want to mention that we want to come back because we want to mention one thing before we talk in the next episode. Before we get into the amateur scene, we want to talk about the outright robbery of
Edner Cherry.
Of Edner Cherry. For those of you who watched that. I don't think you'll find anyone out there that said that would tell you that he lost his fight. So we're going to talk about that in the upcoming
And what really made it crucial, Lel, is it was Edner Cherry's chance to come home with that IBF World Super Featherweight title.
We're going to talk about that because that was just blatant.
It was blatant.
Okay. So come back and watch us on the next episode, which is our amateur scene, and we'll talk about the Cherry robbery. Okay. Till then, keep them hands up.
Keep them up.